Hey Horde! Today I want to show you guys the Cormorant, which Horde is using as an alpha ratter to belt rat in. So let's first take a look at the fitting. It has a bunch of guns or blasters, a rocket launcher because that's the only thing that fits there and we might as well put it on there. An afterburner to go faster, which will be vital for your ratting when doing it a little bit safer and mitigating damage. Deflection and flyer to make it a little bit more tankier. And a medium ancillary shield booster to basically heal your shield when necessary. On top of that we got magnetic field stabilizers to make your guns shoot a little bit faster and make them do more damage. And some rigs, which we'll ignore for now. So first things first, I am going to be belt ratting in GME, which is the PvE area that we use for Horde. It's not safe, but it's definitely less active and safer than 7RM. So let's undock and give this a go. First thing we want to do is when we undock and you get one of these ships handed out from the MBI, you want to group your guns. So you only have to press a few buttons instead of all of them. You want to load ammo in them by right clicking and loading ammo. And we also want to load ammo in the cap boosters. Now this will take a while, but that's okay. If you want to load ammo faster, you dock up and you drag it into your fittings, like this. While you're docked. At the moment I cannot do it because I'm undocked. And then it will be instant instead of this timer. But for now that's okay. So the goal to make some money. And a relatively easy way for new players and alphas to do that is by belt ratting. And what we mean by that is going to asteroid belts and killing the NPCs that are there. So we're going to do that in a moment. We're just going to wait for this to fully reload and then we're on our way. So let's first try the first asteroid belt. Our goal is to mitigate a lot of the damage by going fast and going at an angle. Because if you go at an angle, also, you have a lot of transversal velocity. And when that's the case, the enemy ships have trouble hitting you with their guns. So that's kind of what we're trying to aim for. So let's have a look how that goes. Is this someone is already ratting in a dragoon? So we're not gonna do that. Let's go to the next belt. So the Dragoon is our belt ratter for the Omar race, which uses drones. We don't use drones. Oh, this is actually already killed as well. So one thing to point out is Jimmy only has a few belts, as you can see here. But that's why, like, the ratting ships are pretty agile, so you can also go to the neighboring systems and do it in asteroid belts over there. So we found a belt, and we found a belt with quite a bit of stuff actually. This is kind of nice. Bigger ships give bigger bounties. We want to basically start moving right away so we don't sit still, because if you sit still you're an easy target. And I kind of want to move at an angle of these guys. And I kind of want to target the small ships first. And I want to start hitting those. Now, I'm not going to start quite yet because I want to show you guys something first. My optimal range is 1500 and my fall off is 3000, so I need to be between that. And for the rocket, anything within 30k is fine. So let's start shooting at this. Let's start with these guys. So I want to kill this guy, so I'm going to turn around a bit. And one thing I don't want to do is don't want to make abrupt changes. I kind of did already, and you saw my speed drop. So I want to make a small angle by clicking in space. The blue line is where you're going. So you kind of want to shift the blue line a little bit by bit. And you see that my speed stays the same. They have trouble hitting me. Now if I would do this, So very abrupt change, like almost like what, 90 degrees. You see, I start to take damage instantly. So we don't want to do that. We want to do it a lot more subtle like that and come at an angle. So which one were we focusing on again? We're focusing on this one. So basically, I'm going at an angle now. I'm doing pretty okay. Let me just already put my missiles on him. And every time I pass him, I'm gonna shift my angle a little bit. So I basically make a wide circle around him and coming closer and closer and closer and closer. So this is 8K. Let's come a little bit closer as well. 7K until I'm close enough where I'm like, okay, I can start to orbit this guy. And I'm gonna do it a little bit too early, I think, but let's do it anyway. Let's orbit at 1,000. Now let's see what happens, right? You see, I stop, losing a lot of speed, and I go towards this line, and then I start orbiting. So every time you orbit, that is basically what happens. When I get in range of my guns, I start shooting them, and we'll start taking him down. What is important to note of this is, when you give the orbit command to your ship, that means it will burn at a straight line at the ship, losing all your speed, all your transversal, making you an easy target, giving you a lot of damage. So you kind of want to fly manually until you're close enough to do it. So that went pretty okay. So let's go to the next ship. Well, let's select it, see where it is. It's over there. Let's change my angle a little bit, although this guy's already pretty close, so we'll be okay, I think. And then we orbit at 1,000 again, and we do the same thing. So another thing to point out is there are two blue lines. One blue line is where you're going, although when you're orbiting that's a little bit weird, right? Because that does the blue line. And the other is the arrow, and the arrow is pretty much where your ship is pointing at the moment. So if, for example, let's wait for this one dies. I will click over here. You see the blue line change and the arrow change slowly, because the arrow shows exactly where my ship is going, and the blue line will be where I will eventually be aligning to. Okay, so we have one more smaller ship left, which is directly down. So let's go do that. I'm actually not taking much damage at all. But imagine that I'm taking a lot of damage and need to heal. Well, that is what we got the medium and shield booster for. Click it once, and you see my shield come up. Click it again to turn it off. If you don't click it again to turn it off, it will keep going and use ammo. Totally, you have 7 cap boosters in there. After that, you're out of ammo and you can still run it. However, if you still run it, it will take a lot of cap away from you, which might not be ideal. So, and remember, this one had a long reload cycle as well. So when you're out, it's generally best to warp out and reload. So let's shoot at this thing as well. So, the bigger the ship, the harder time it will have hitting you. So what you notice is these ships actually don't hurt me that much at all. I got kind of lucky on the spawn here. Sometimes, however, you have ships with a lot of frigates as well. And those you want to kill really, really quickly, or even kill one and warp out and such, because those can definitely ruin your day. Something to keep in mind with this is at the moment, this character is quite a bit more trained than an alpha clone, meaning the speed at which I do this is a little bit quicker than you would be doing it. But if you keep decent angles and you keep at a decent speed, you'll see that it's pretty okay. Another thing to note is when you click on if you highlight a target, you'll see what the reward is. So when we kill this dude, we'll get 1.4 million ISK, plus the loot he drops. And I'll get to looting in a moment. As you see, we're starting to take a little bit more damage, which is because we're getting closer to these guys, and sometimes on part of this route, for example when I'm here, my angular velocity will not be as good because I'm basically traveling in a straight line for him, and the same is the case when I'm like at this area. But we haven't used any cap boosters at all yet, so we're pretty much fine. So as you can see, alone this will take a while, but there's no reason you need to do this alone. You can if you want to, but you can also go out in packs of 2 and 3s and just kill these really quickly and do it a lot safer. So I encourage all of you to group up and work together. So slowly but surely you whittle this guy down and get like almost 1.5 million ISK, which is not too bad for a new player, especially if you compare to running missions in high sec or something like that. This is pretty competitive, and scales very well with skills as well. Especially if you start bringing bigger ships and stuff like that, or more people. More people is a really good alternative as well. So pretty soon, this guy's gonna try and kill me, which he might succeed because I already summoned this guy, but I didn't really want to cover that for the video. So we're just gonna warp off and do that. Basically, I hope this guy stays around because then I can use him for a video to do belt threading safely. But I didn't really want to focus on that on this video. Either way, he's kind of forcing me to cut this video short. The only things that I don't really need visuals for that I would still like to explain is looting. Basically, these racks in space, you right click and do open rack. And then you loot the stuff. I would suggest only looting the ships that are medium or large, because those have the most bounty, most loot in them. And yeah, that's about it. You can get these ships free from the MBI, and if you lose one, just ask for a new one. If you wanna know how to get to get to the GME or an area where you can rat and mine a little bit more safely, although not entirely safely, as that did just demonstrated. Look for the video on our YouTube section. And yeah, that's about it. So I hope this was useful, and thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just ask your newbies in game and someone will help you out.